All right, y'all. Welcome back to our WrestleMania Prediction Party. Biggest party of the year, biggest show of the year on the A Show. Of course, I am J5 here with Meelz, and we have a special guest here. And this is somebody that we wanted on the show for a really long time. I actually met her. Shit, was it 2 years ago? I met her at a SmackDown event. I know she was like, "Who the fuck is this?" But then it's been all love since then. She's one of my favorite follows on Twitter. I lurk now, so like I'm usually just like, "Oh yeah, that was fucking hilarious." But somebody who is outspoken, has a really great mind for this stuff, and somebody whose opinion that I value was really, really highly. The one and only Cam. What's going on, girl?
What's up?
Yes.
Finally made it. Made it to the A.
Supports local wrestling too. Like you be out here, like for real.
Out here, yeah. Spending way too much money, but having a blast.
I haven't actually been to a PCW Ultra show out here. I really want to go to one of those real soon. Like they look really, really fun.
That's one I haven't been to yet. That's on my list though, so definitely have to make it out to one of those.
Have you ever? Did you ever go to the receipt at PWGs?
I didn't go to Bola
this
year. I was supposed to, but I went to their show in November.
Okay. Did you go to the ones in Reseda, or you just been to the ones at the Globe?
No, just at the Globe.
Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to see if like we had ever cross paths without knowing. Yeah, because like I used to go to PWG when it was still at the that small ass place. I loved it there though, but obviously the Globe is like a bigger, better place. I just hate if you're sitting in the back at the Globe, you're not seeing shit at all.
You're not seeing shit. And the lighting is still kind of weird no matter where you're sitting, but it is a really dope venue.
Yeah, I like it. I gotta make it out to a PWG event pretty soon. But we are here to talk about the women's matches on WrestleMania night 1, night 2. We don't know yet. We're recording this, so if they've announced it by the time you've heard this, we didn't know when we recorded this.
It's all WrestleMania at this point. It's all kosher. It's all copacetic. Everyone's got a place on the card. I feel like they're giving everybody a place on this card, so there's nothing to worry about at this point.
They're trying to, and also if can I let them know behind the scenes of how we're recording this, or no? You just want you just want me to have different outfits every time we're doing.
Yes, rich. Yes, wealthy. Of course.
So we're for sure going to be having different outfits going around for the next couple of segments. I don't know where Meelz is going to place this, but if you're watching on video, welcome to YouTube. What's going on, y'all? Like, subscribe, comment, all of that stuff. But what match are we going to talk about first, huh?
Wait. Before we get into that, I want to know, Cam, how did you get into wrestling? Because usually we do this for our first time guests. How did you get into wrestling? What was like your introduction? How old were you? Like, what's the background story? What's the villain origin story?
All right, this is a fun story. I started watching wrestling when I was 5. My dad was really into wrestling, and he was just watching it one day and going in, trying to bother him, whatever he was doing. I caught it on TV, and it's funny because it was actually Umaga's debut on Raw. That was my very first introduction to wrestling. So you have this big dude, all his face paint on, coming out, and 5-year-old me was like, I don't know what the fuck this is, but I'm into it. Yeah. He came out, beat the shit out of Ric Flair, and since then I've been a fan.
I think that like what's really cool is there are very few fans that I've ever met that like fallen for wrestling due to a baby face. It's always been like this big bad heel. Like my introduction was like Razor Ramon. It was like I was like, I fuck a Razor Ramon off top. He's beating niggas up. He's you know what I'm saying? He's hanging out with the thugs. Like I wanted to be on his team, and like Umaga, he's just cool. They just exude coolness when you see them.
I think, especially when you grow up on animated series, or if you're in the comics or superhero movies, you always see the superhero come out on top.
Yeah.
And I think wrestling is a lot of people's introduction to the villain coming out on top and winning. And I think that is intriguing to, young minds. You want to see the bad guy win.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, do you have any WrestleMania memories? Have you gone to any previous WrestleMania? Is this your first WrestleMania?
This is my first WrestleMania.
Wow, that's dope. That's really, really dope. Again, this will be my third, and I'm telling you, it never gets old. It's just the feeling, like especially in the city. Like this is the first one where I've lived in the city where it's taking place at, and I think like the excitement is just like, oh, I'm coming into town. I'm gonna pull up. Like everyone's hitting me up, and I'm like, listen, yo, Gas is high. I need y'all to really realize that gas is definitely $5.12 depending on where you at right now.
Yeah.
So I can't.
Doesn't matter if you're Ubering. Doesn't matter if you're driving. It's just going to be expensive. Just prepare.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you feel about how do you feel about how spread out it is? I was talking to one of my friends, MC. He was like, I got to go to this pop-up and it's all the way in Echo Park. And I'm like, bro, that's so far away from like everything in LA.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how spread out it is. I think they're just kind of like, we're going to go to this show and then we're going to go to this show and like we're going to go to USC and go to the Ring of Honor show and then go all the way to this side for this. And I'm like, you don't understand, especially because it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and around like work traffic and stuff like that. I'm like, it's going to take you 45 minutes to get you from one end to the other if you're lucky. So it's going to be interesting for sure. I feel like a lot of shows might be pushed back a little bit just because it's going to take a while for people to get from place to place.
Yeah. I mean, no one's hit that 5 mile, 55-minute traffic before where it's like most other places, 5 miles is 10 minutes. Like, no, it's definitely an hour out here. And I think that like WWE pretty much is running the two sectors that they're in. They're running where SoFi is all the way to Inglewood. They run that. Ain't nobody doing anything close to there. And downtown LA is kind of like, you ain't doing nothing close to SoFi unless you Wale Mania this year. Like that's the only thing really going down. So I think that it's interesting to see how many people saying they're popping up to all these shows. And I'm like, yeah, your Uber tax about to be high as fuck. We talking $50 Ubers right now. Like, nah, it ain't a game.
And people are wanting to Uber to SoFi. I'm like, good luck to you.
Oh, hell no. What,
good luck to you.
I'm gonna pull up to where my friends are staying in Gardena. We're all gonna Uber together, and then that's just gonna be how it is. Because I'm out in the valley right now, so it's like when you're in the valley, wherever you're at, you stay put until traffic goes down. Like you know how it is.
Yeah. So
I can relate. New York Mania weekend was a train ride away everywhere, and then WWE was like, "Oh, here's a shuttle to go where you need to go," and stuff like that. I hope they have that for NXT. Between NXT and Mania, they might as well put a shuttle somewhere.
It's at 9 a.m. So you actually will have time. NXT is usually a 2-hour, 30-minute show. You'll end at around 12. You can easily get to SoFi. You'll just have to stay put for their whole day there. Like you'll just have to be in Inglewood for the whole day. Like I'm talking from about 1 till 11:30 that day. It's gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be long. And people are trying to do WrestleCon beforehand, and I'm like,
they tripping.
You gotta pick.
Nah,
make it.
Y'all tripping. The Saturday, Sunday, it's a wrap. Nothing should. You're not doing nothing. You sticking by Inglewood. Where's WrestleCon at?
Where is it? I'm not going. So
you have an agenda? Do you know what you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay. As long as you know where you at, that's all that matters. Because I'm telling you, Meelz, from like El Segundo all the way up to like Inglewood, it's over. Like from the Forum all the way down, it's gonna be people like wrestling fans all over. So like, if your event is in downtown, you might be fucked because that's gonna be like an hour drive to get all the way down to to the other side of the city, pretty much.
Yeah, WrestleCon's at the Biltmore Hotel.
Biltmore,
downtown LA.
Oh yeah, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Pick one.
That surge is gonna hit at noon, and it's over for you. Because Meelz, there's no shuttle that can get you there in like a timely fashion, like it would have been in Mania, New York. A shuttle is still gonna take you like an hour, and then like if the shuttle's coming back, you might as well just Uber there at that point.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, hopefully the wrestlers have fun. I don't know where
hope everyone has fun.
I hope everyone has fun at this point. I think we should kick off with these predictions, this prediction party that we got going on here for WrestleMania. Let's talk the six women tag team match. Let's talk about Damage Control, Bayley, Dakota Kai, Io Sky versus Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus. What an encounter.
Right.
You know what? Because never in my world would I have imagined Lita and Trish teaming up with Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. It would just never cross my mind. Never thought that would be Becky Lynch's lane. Like, we're coming from the rumors last year of it being Becky versus Ronda. That's what's gonna be.
They seemingly really don't like each other. Like, it could have happened, but it looks like they just don't want to fuck with each other at all.
Yeah. It's so for this to come as like, I don't want to say this is like a consolation prize, but it's definitely like the alternative to me is something that I never, thought that could be. But I'm also very happy that Damage Control gets on a WrestleMania card, because Bayley last year didn't get to make WrestleMania because of her injury, just wasn't featured on 38 for whatever reason. Yeah. Last time she was at WrestleMania, it was the WrestleMania at the PC.
Yeah.
Dang,
so it's been so long. So this is her return to WrestleMania. Dakota Kai's WrestleMania, Io Sky's debut at WrestleMania.
That's fine. I'm happy. If nothing else, I'm happy for those two. Like fuck whatever else is going on. Like Dakota Kai, Io Sky made it. Like Dakota was chilling at home like 7-8 months ago and got the call, and she got put in such a position where she could be on a WrestleMania card. Super happy for her. I hope she gets like some cool ass gear, or she's wearing some good sneakers, because she's a real sneakerhead.
The gear is gonna be fire.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Think about it. All right. So what's kind of like my thing with this match is I have no idea what's gonna happen or where it goes.
I smell a rat.
Okay, talk about it. What are we talking about?
Rat. Trish. I'm not feeling like Trish is all the way there with Lita. They're naturally enemies. They're naturally rivals. I don't believe all of this. I don't believe this camaraderie.
Nah, but the last 15 years they've been best friends. They besties. They homegirls. They induct each other into the Hall of Fame. Like, yes, the rivalry is definitely there, but they have not been rivals for like the last 15 years. Why would they? Trish
hasn't been a heel in 15 years either. And I think she said in an interview, I get to do something on this return that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And I think she wants the Becky match. I think that's really where she want to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cam, how do you feel about this match? And how do you just generally feel about it going into it?
So honestly, at first I didn't really feel much for this match.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I felt like, okay, like you said, like wouldn't expect this to kind of come together, like like Trish and Lita and Becky to come together as a team. I was like, okay. I honestly didn't think it was gonna carry into WrestleMania. I thought it was just a one-time thing. Trish comes out, she saves or whatever. And for it to lead to a WrestleMania match, I feel like is so huge, especially because we have 3 different generations of women's wrestlers in this one match. We have Trish and Lita, Becky, Bayley, and then Dakota and Io, who are kind of stepping up to this main event player status, which I feel like is huge to come from NXT and these 2 women to come up in particular. And I feel like Damage Control got a lot of shit for a long time because people weren't trusting the process and they wanted them to kind of pay off immediately. Mm-hmm. But, this is the payoff. You get a WrestleMania match with 2 Hall of Famers, 2 future Hall of Famers. Like, this is the time for you to prove yourself and kind of establish that foundation.
I like that you said that, because I feel like in the community, there, in particular with the women, a lot of times there's always like a glass half empty look. And I think that, and there's going to be matches we talk about on this where I'm kind of like, I'm glass half empty on it because it just hasn't been the best. But I feel like in terms of a long-term feud, you get Becky and Bayley for the past almost 6 months feuding. Ever since they injured her, she came back at War Games, and then they've continued on with it. I feel like we always want like a long-term story and like a feud to go on, and we normally don't get that, and especially one that's going to lead up to WrestleMania. And I think with Damage Control, they wanted them to be a certain thing where it's like, no, they have to be heels for all occasions. They have to be heels on Raw and SmackDown, because there wasn't any. The depth was so shitty for people leaving or for other reasons, injuries, all of that stuff. And I think that these 3 women have really carried the division in a lot of ways, regardless of what's been thrown at them. So like if they've taken losses, I looked at it like, yo, heels got to lose sometimes. But like more often than not, Bayley has come out on top, and when she does it looks cool. Like, I know the big thing that people were upset about, and it was weird, was the cage match. They didn't get that didn't happen when it was supposed to, and it was a big deal, and I feel like it was something that they had to make up for, and they made up for it by having a way better match with the Trish return that led to this. So I really like that you said that, like, hey, like this is the payoff is that these women who, again, like I said, were sitting at home get a WrestleMania moment now.
Right. So I'm excited for all of them and excited for the gear because I feel like women always show out when it comes to WrestleMania gear. So just really happy that all of them kind of get these moments because especially like Becky and Bailey just kind of having a rough year and coming back from Bailey coming back from injury and kind of getting this, stable and kind of making, something great out of something so many people shit on. And so I'm excited for all of them. I wasn't excited at first, but I think as it gets closer and closer, I'm looking forward to it.
Right.
And I like that also women get to be part-timers too. Like they can just show up and have their WrestleMania moment and be part of that field as well. Like this is Lita's first WrestleMania match since WrestleMania 18.
Shit.
God.
2002. She was in the company like 4 years after that.
We got the elephant in the room here, though. I feel like a lot of people really are unfair to Lita in terms of just like, obviously she's not gonna move as fast as she used to and stuff like that. I feel like there's a lot of dudes that be on cards that don't move, that move way slower than Lita do, and I feel like they get a lot of like. I feel like they get a lot of grace, whereas Lita doesn't. Like I've seen a lot of people saying like, oh, she shouldn't have the title because she ain't like how she used to be. She's still this, she's still that. People love Lita not because she was a fucking technical miracle out there. They love her because of the look. They love her because of, she gave it her all. And I feel like Cam said, she's gonna give it her all here. And I respect the fact that she's even willing to go in such a big crowd and do this shit. Like I give Lita a lot of grace because it's still one of my favorite, wrestlers, not just women wrestlers of all time. Like I still fuck with Lita.
Absolutely.
Nah, is this her second WrestleMania? Now I really think about it. Like this is her second WrestleMania match ever. To be such a legend and such an icon, and really this is kind of like your second WrestleMania. Like shout out to Lita for making it to the card. Trish has been a mainstay on the card. She's had classic matches at WrestleMania, classic moments at WrestleMania. So she's up there. Becky Lynch, part of the first woman to ever main event WrestleMania. Bailey, just an all-around badass.
In the rafters.
She's Bailey.
Yeah. In the rafters. So who do we think is winning this match? Team Becky or Damage Control?
I'm going Damage Control.
I feel like gonna win.
Damage Control.
Yeah. I feel like if there's any opportunity for them to get that W, it's here. Like I'm not saying all those other losses won't matter, but this will shine a lot on them and say like, yeah, we're really moving, we're like progressing, we're doing this. Like Damage Control is an entity that you guys need to look out for, and that will go down in kind of history. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's Damage Control. Plus, I feel like they deserve it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I feel like Damage Control goes from a trio to a foursome, a fearsome foursome. I think Trish is turning. I think she's gonna
really doubling down on this Trish.
Oh, when they beat her up, they didn't really show it. They didn't really show her getting knocked up like that. That's something that she could just brush off. She hasn't even really like fucked them up like that. She just kind of came out and did some stuff. Like I think this is something happening with the cahoots, bro. Like they're in cahoots. I feel it. They need a serve.
Especially with Bailey and Trish talking so much on social media.
Exactly. Yes.
And reminiscing.
Yeah. She was there on the floor at the hotel after the tag team title loss. She understands what it is. That's what I'm saying. Damage Control.
You think Trish was the source back then when they were talking about they were throwing tantrums on the floor?
She told Ryan. No, I think that's and again, Damage Control could bridge the gap between those three generations, like Cam said. You have that first generation with Trish, that next up with Bailey, and then you have the future with Io and Dakota. And I think that's just such a good look for all four of them women to be there, and it gives Bailey more heat to this feud and Lita more reason to be around and stick around. And again, the tag titles are still around. And I said this a couple weeks ago when Becky and Lita won it. I was like, them titles have never been as big of a deal as they've ever been since Sasha and Naomi with Becky and Lita having it. They're a big deal now, and I think that you have to keep it on them for them to kind of still have that stature where they're main eventing shows, whereas they weren't before.
And that could possibly set up a tag match at Backlash between Becky and Lita and versus Bayley and Trish.
That would be great. Yeah,
that's money.
That's money right there. That's Puerto Rico. Come on, they're coming out to see that. They're coming out to see that.
Right.
Listen. So with that match, let's move on to the next one. There's a battle of my faves. Personally, I love them both.
Yeah.
I mean, I really can't choose a winner. I'm gonna try, but you know what I'm saying? I really can't. We have the Raw Women's Championship on the line at WrestleMania. Bianca Belair has gone the distance. She has traveled around the sun once. With this, I was about to say the Earth turned, but I was like, nah, that's 24 hours. She has traveled around the sun at least once with this Raw Women's Championship.
1 year on the first.
Yeah, 1 year. She's gonna make it. She's going up against the Asuka, who is pretty much back to her like original form. This is like the form that has. I wish they would do like show some more clips of like her in Japan and stuff like that to really like, yo, she was murking people out there. But nonetheless, she's using hashtag mind games on Bianca. You know what I'm saying? As the time we're recording this, they have not exchanged hands.
Maybe it'll happen this week.
Maybe it's for the best. Maybe it isn't for children, as children to see, because Bianca puts the beat down, Asuka puts a beat down. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it may be too violent and only worthy for WrestleMania. How do you feel about everything? How do you feel about how this entire thing has progressed forward with Bianca's title reign, intersecting with Asuka's kind of return to form? How do you kind of feel just about the journey that that has took to get here?
I think it's unfair to compare it to what she had with Becky last year. I think there's not really much that you could do that'll get her to that level. And I understand that not everyone can have the biggest, baddest storyline, because this WrestleMania, and I've said it before, it's the Roman and Cody show. Like, that's clearly the one thing that they give a fuck about more than anything, is the Bloodline show, rather. That's the one thing they care about. I know that you can't be the biggest, baddest every year. I personally would have loved for Bianca to have a lot more going into this match. I think that, like, she's beaten Asuka, and we saw it last year. Like, you're not going to make us forget this. I think that the match is going to be fantastic. I mean, Bianca's a ring general now. She's a war-hardened veteran. She won War Games with Asuka. I think Asuka is one of the best women in the world. I think she's one of the best wrestlers in the fucking world right now. But I think that as far as giving us, the fans, something to sink into, I need more than just, I know it's going to be a great match. I needed like some actual story here, and I think that's why I'm conflicted.
I think it reminds me a lot of, at the time, Sasha and Bianca, and how the build was complete shit.
Yeah.
And, deserved a lot more, but you knew the match was going to be great.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like trying to get over the fact that the build hasn't been that amazing, just because you have these two future Hall of Famers going at it for this title. And I think even when I tweeted the graphic of the match, I just put like blood drop emojis.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting just straight violence out of this match.
Yeah.
And just like a slugfest between these two, because these two really know how to go at it. And I think that something that I'm considering in this storyline, but a lot of people aren't, because you just see it, a lot of people look at it surface level, is the timing of Asuka bringing back her original version of herself. And that she knows that Bianca is one of the toughest competitors she's ever gone up against. So now she has to dig deep and pull that out, because she has to bring out all the weapons she has in order to have a chance at beating Bianca. And I think that Bianca realizes that. She might be slightly intimidated by that, although it doesn't really look like it. I think Bianca is more so annoyed with this. I wish that it was more of kind of like Bianca acting a little more scared, because Asuka is such a huge deal and she is one of the toughest motherfuckers
Yeah.
in wrestling, like, period. So I wish there was a little more of something that could be. I wish Bianca was a little more scared.
Yeah, I think this, like, and not even just scared, but like scared that she doesn't know if she can beat her. You know what I mean? Because like,
Yeah.
I think the parallel to this to me would be like, I know people compare Bianca to John Cena all the time, and I said that's good. I think that's a good thing if she's.
That's a great thing. That's a compliment.
Yeah, like I look at it like, and again we talked about him earlier, like a John Cena Umaga type thing, where like Asuka should definitely be that. I'm like, why is she not buzzsaw kicking people in the head? Where's the violence that, I mean, like, we're days removed from, and I know we're gonna talk about it in a second, the Rhea and Charlotte pull apart on SmackDown. I said they should have did that from the beginning, and I'm like, what are y'all waiting for with the Bianca thing? Like, I know, like, it's clear that WWE booking, Triple H, all of them, they see her as they see her as a star. They see her as a superstar. She's on Watch What Happens Live. She's on all of these things that you know they put people on. But when it comes to the actual TV on you know every week, I find it hard to be like this is the person. You know what I mean? Like, I find it hard to be like, this is why they fuck with her so much. But last year I got that when she came out with the band. I said that's her. That's that girl right there. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm finding it hard to do that. And again, I know it's unfair to compare what she has now to what she had, because she was chasing last year. Yeah. There's nothing, like, she was in the chase last year, and it's very tough to have a championship reign where you're not chasing anymore. You have to react, and to Cam's point, she hasn't reacted enough to this yet.
Absolutely, yeah.
I am torn. Can't really choose.
I'm not. It is what it is.
We all win if whoever wins. We all win.
We all win.
Yeah, right. But realistically, more than likely, the numbers say if Bianca wins.
Bianca wins. LOL. Like Cena wins. Belair wins. LOL. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Which would be crazy. Asuka, long undefeated streak, has not won at WrestleMania ever. It's crazy.
You gotta think at this point that she probably is like, I don't want to win at WrestleMania, right?
I mean, I'm sure she good. Them checks cash. I'll be seeing everything she on. You know, she be eating all types of wagyu on the Counter Chan TV and other stuff like that. She's good. Like, she got the newest Switch. She got all the skins for it. She got everything.
The Gucci belt, the YSL on. When she come out non-ring clothes, I'm like, yo, you're shitting right now. You need to really stop doing it to them like this. But what do you guys think of this? And I saw this today in our Discord, where someone was listening to a podcast and they said that there's like a discrimination angle with Asuka, where they never saw her as a top star because she can't speak English. And I'm like, I've never seen that type of feeling. You could be mad at how she lost to Charlotte or how she was treated up to the point where COVID happened and she was the champion for that long. You could definitely say that there was a weird point for her, but discrimination, I never saw that with Asuka. They don't even force her to do promos in English. She never does promos in English.
No, I've never received it that way.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. That's an interesting point.
No, I would never. She won the Royal Rumble. She's accomplished most things, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Tag champion, NXT champion, Raw, SmackDown. She's Grand Slam, right?
Money in the Bank, yeah. Money in the Bank. Yeah. She's done it. Elimination Chamber. She's won it all.
Yeah. Except multiple. I think, well, she was in War Games, won the
WrestleMania, apparently.
You gotta think that she probably feels like, let's leave my WrestleMania story till like later on. Like she could, like, that's a good story. Like, Asuka's looking for her one WrestleMania win against the person that beat her, and that could be Bianca or Charlotte or anybody that's beat her before. I think that's a good story to go for. But Bianca, I think she'll lose it in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico seems like, to me, where I would.
And again, if I lost in Puerto Rico,
you would never.
I would never return if the one time we go to Puerto Rico, I lose the title.
Damian Priest for sure not coming back. His freak ass.
Nah. He's sitting his ass down.
That's funny. All right, so I wanna do a segue between this match and the next match because there's a question regarding it that surrounded this. And we'll talk about the match as we get here. Do you feel like, or would you rather preferred? I don't want to say do you feel like, because do you feel like implies like they should have done something where they did. Would you have preferred Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair at WrestleMania this year?
Wow, Cam, why not?
Nope.
Talk about it.
I think right now the Rhea Charlotte story is more important. I feel like you need to wrap a bow on it, ship it, and never open it again. Because it's been 3 years, their feud, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's perfect timing. I called it last Royal Rumble. I'm like, if Rhea doesn't win this one, she's going to win the next one, and she's going to challenge for Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's title, because that's just, I feel like Rhea's won almost everything by the age of 25, 26.
Right.
And she's great in all, like she checks every box, but the one thing she's never been able to overcome is Charlotte. Since she started in NXT, people were always like, oh, she's like an Australian Charlotte. That's always been the comparison. And she's never been able to escape her. No matter what she does, Charlotte comes back and she's right there on top. And it's kind of like this bug that just won't go the fuck away. And every time Rhea has had a title and has faced Charlotte, she has lost.
Right.
She's never beaten her clean. They had a match on Raw, but it was a disqualification where Rhea won. So I feel like Rhea needs to, in her mind, beat Charlotte clean for her title in order to kind of close that chapter.
I agree. I think when we first heard it and when she first challenged Charlotte, I think there was a big what the fuck throughout the whole world.
Really?
And I was one of them. I was like,
sure.
I was like, what the because it seemed like the stars had finally aligned. But you know, one of the best things about all of the BS that happened last year was that they were gonna throw this match out at Money in the Bank for nothing. You know what I mean? Like this was gonna happen last May for nothing. And I feel like they would have blew through this. It wouldn't have meant anything. And we would have got just a very momentary kind of rush from having it. And they would have done this match 4 or 5 times. And we would have been tired of it. I think having us wait for Rhea and Bianca, the Cena and Batista, if you will, the Rock Austin, if you want to make that comparison, the Becky Charlotte, if you want to make that comparison too, saving it with these two, you know, next up from when it's later. It could be, it doesn't have to be a Mania. It could be SummerSlam. That's a big match for SummerSlam. Having it be where it's like, okay, we're gonna make them wait for it. I get it now. I think my issue with the actual Rhea Charlotte thing is that these motherfuckers, well, up till a couple days ago, hadn't touched or done anything to each other, and I was like, "Where's the heat? What's going on? What are y'all waiting for?" And
but you know that Charlotte eventually, I mean, she did it she did it on Friday. She was gonna come scratching, clawing, screaming,
beating up security. Yeah. She loves to beat up security. I'm like every single.
She loves it.
She loves to beat up security.
A barefoot ass whooping. That's what she
her highlighter ass jumpsuit.
On Friday, when you saw the shoes come off, I said it out loud. I said, "Oh, brawl." I said, "Pull apart brawl is coming." But
5-minute brawl. Here we go.
I think a lot of things have suffered. I won't say a lot of things. I feel like there are certain feuds. I feel like Edge and Finn have been they've been able to do what they've been doing outside the bloodline stuff. But I feel like Charlotte, Rhea, and to an extent Bianca, Asuka have definitely fallen off because they've given a lot of time to the bloodline thing. That's why I'm more so like, let's get this over with. It's been fun. I've had a great time with the blood. I'm going to continue this throughout this prediction show, but I'm going to say that I've had a great time. Roman, Uso, Solo, Paul.
Been great.
Yeah, we have fun. Let's end it because it's time for other people to get that shine and to get that attention. And I think Charlotte and Rhea, to Cam's point, big time match, big time grudge match between these two. And it hasn't felt grudgy other than like Dom coming out and her talking about Andrade's dick size. Like that's the only time.
And I feel like that feud needed that brawl. Like someone in the desert needed water, because what else were we supposed to be excited for? Like we've seen it multiple times. And to your point, I think it didn't help that around Survivor Series, they kept hinting at Bianca Rhea from like October to the Rumble.
Yeah.
They were having these little backstage segments, these stare downs.
There was that one time they walked past each other when she was with Judgment Day, and then just kind of did this, and I'm just like,
"There's your WrestleMania match.
Give it to me.
There's your night one main event."
I would have loved it.
But if you don't go with that, like, are we thinking that this is going to main event Charlotte Rhea? Because people are saying it's going to be Usos, KO, Sammy, which, no disrespect, I feel like it's a hotter program, or it's going to be this.
Listen, Big Char last year was told she was main event in WrestleMania. And then it's Stone Cold. So it's Stone Cold. We in Dallas. I'm sure Charlotte was like, I understand. But let me tell you something about this year.
Second year in a row, she's facing the Rumble winner. Second year in a row.
We ain't got no Stone Cold this year. You know what I'm saying? KO. We ain't got no Stone Cold this year, is what Big Shaw said. She said, listen, I've been here. I put in my time. I put in my work. I've seen, everybody else having main events to WrestleMania. I got to do it twice. You know what I'm saying? So Charlotte showed up and she said, listen, this is what's going to happen. We main eventing night one. Give me the biggest match that you can get. So Rhea Ripley's out there. They're going to have this match. Listen, as much as I was like, yes, this is going to be Rhea Ripley's moment. Yes. I mean, the thing is that this is giving me vibes of like a couple years ago, because I feel like Rhea Ripley's hated, but she's not hated enough. Like, I still love Rhea Ripley, to be honest with you. So it's giving me vibes of 2 years ago at WrestleMania. Was it 2 years ago? The first one where they did it post, it was still deep in the pandemic, but they had people anyway.
It was 2 years ago.
37 against Asuka. Weirdly enough. People forget that whole thing. Like, she won the Raw Women's title. She beat Asuka. It was a whole thing. She showed up like 2 weeks before, said, I'm doing it. And Asuka was like, I bet.
Nobody cared.
Nobody cared.
Everyone was pissed.
Yeah, exactly. I think people wanted Bianca that year too.
Yeah. People were pissed.
I have no doubt in the ability that these two will put on a great match. But with Charlotte, I can never be sure that she's going to take that L quietly.
There are two finishes I will accept. Charlotte just barely winning this match, and then them having to do it again because she got taken to the limit, and Rhea was like, "You rolled me up." I'll accept that.
Roxanne Perez her. You know what I'm saying?
Perez her. Last year she won with a big boot, and I said, "Yo." She dropped the leg on Ronda ass. She said, nah. Like LA Knight said, nah. I'm winning this way. I'll accept that, or I'll accept Rhea winning clean. If Charlotte looks like the Don Dada winning this, should I get the fuck away from me? Because the thing is this. You don't build up Rhea beating up men, beating up women, crazy vibe, crazy aura about her. You don't do that just to have her win and look like a fucking bum going out. You just don't
neither. I don't think she's been pinned in a while.
No. And getting to eliminate Asuka at the Rumble, and Liv Morgan, who's like arguably one of the top baby faces of the women's division.
And Liv is, and I feel for her because it's just, there's just bigger things out there, but Liv is like right there. Like they could go to her at any time. And for her to not make it in a singles match, I would feel away. I usually don't like tell people to feel away about the type of stuff. But if I'm Liv, I'm like, fuck, man. Because like the rumor was, and I guess I could say this now because it's not happening. The rumor was, or what I've heard, was that JoJo Siwa was supposed to be in the match with Liv, and they were supposed to be a tag team going into Mania. And that kind of fell apart. And that's why Liv kind of was on an island for quite some time, because that match ended up not happening. But JoJo was penciled in to be at WrestleMania. But I think they looked at what she did at that launch party where she slipped, and they said, I don't even know, because she was definitely training.
Wow.
JoJo Siwa. Natalia would have been there too. Don't worry.
I just don't know who would have been the opponents. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
My prediction Rhea. I'm not betting against Roman this year, but I'll say Rhea.
I'm gonna say Rhea.
I'm about to be
Never know.
Rhea has not been pinned since, I believe, May 29th, 2022.
Who was that against?
Liv Morgan.
That was on the road to her Money in the Bank win because Rhea had momentum then, and then Rhea had the medical problems that kept her out for 6 months. So
it's hard for me to doubt Charlotte. It's really like I watched Charlotte. I was so confident when Asuka was going into WrestleMania. I was like, all right, bet streak continuing. Like this is gonna be crazy. But I remember in the back of my head, I was like, but what if Charlotte wins? And that's really been the thing that's been in my head for the last 7 years. And more than likely, it usually comes true. It's like, all right, Rhea, Ronda Rousey's back at, WrestleMania. She's won the Royal Rumble. Obviously, they back on the Ronda train. But what if Charlotte wins? And then she wins. Like, what if Charlotte's like, I don't want to say she got the stroke, but she fake got the stroke. But I don't want to say it because I feel like, man,
Charlotte has the bigger stroke over Ronda. I feel like Ronda don't got no stroke whatsoever. It's like she's a regular nigga on WWE.
People in the locker room don't even listen to her.
Yes.
But I just
move. You're in my spot. Move.
I want to say Rhea Ripley. I really do. But there's the other part of my brain that's like, but Charlotte Flair. It's just easier to go with Charlotte. It's just like, all right, Charlotte wins. And people won't even bat an eye. It was like, all right, it's just fucking Charlotte, I guess.
2 years in a row, a Rumble winner loses.
That's why
greatest of all time.
That's why I'm like, well, who was the men's Rumble winner last year? It was Brock.
It was Brock.
It was Brock, right?
Brock. It was Brock.
He lost. Oh, both Rumble winners lost last year.
I hated that Rumble. Oh my god. Yeah. Fucking hated that. It pisses me off just thinking about it.
One of the worst Rumbles of all time. Okay,
horrible.
Let's fired now. We're good.
He's fired now. He's out the family now, nigga. Like he's completely out the family.
You don't get to make Rumble matches at home anymore.
If kids get to stay and your ass gotta leave, that's some crazy shit.
That's wild.
That's crazy.
I'm gonna go with Rhea Ripley against my own judgment inside of like, all right, Charlotte Flair is gonna drop the leg on. I'm gonna go with Rhea Ripley because it seems like they generally do want to crown Rhea Ripley.
Does Charlotte wanna make someone?
She has to at some point.
Only she can get it back.
I'll fight her.
Does she want to make someone? Because a big 0-2 don't look good for Rhea's chances at getting a Bianca Belair. I'll say that right now. The big 0-2 don't look good.
If she's gonna put over anyone, I put money on Rhea. I think Charlotte genuinely wants the best for Rhea and expects her to kind of hold the Charlotte place once Charlotte's officially done.
Yeah.
And this is the time to do it. And I was thinking about it because we kind of talked about it on Twitter, me and Meelz. Like, who does it benefit if Charlotte wins? Nobody. It makes Rhea look weak, and it doesn't add on to any new Charlotte title reigns if she wants to beat her dad's record. So it just doesn't make any sense. But I would not be surprised at the same time.
But you also got to think too, if Finn wins and Rhea wins, the Judgment Day are moving. They're moving on. They beat one of the biggest baby faces on Raw. Rhea is not going to break up from that group. They would be ridiculous to break that group up at this point. They are really good for each other. I want to say it's going to be a Judgment Day clean sweep, but that's just because I'm biased. I love everybody in that group. But I think that if you do this, like the bigger implications is that Rhea has a whole new pool of challengers to go against on SmackDown, where you'll get her and Zelina, you'll get her and Raquel, which would be fucking crazy. They've done this before. You get her and Ronda, you get her and Shayna, which is another thing we've seen before, but we can see it differently now. Like there's a whole new group of her, but you keep her away from Bianca because if Bianca beats Asuka, there ain't nowhere else for Bianca to go but Rhea. So if you want to keep that away, if you want to keep them away from each other, you split them up completely until it's time to come back around again.
I'm gonna hold you. Charlotte gonna say I got first. I don't care if I got beat. I'm still it's still me. I'm gonna catch me in Puerto Rico. I'm gonna be there. Hold
But
that.
and my thing is too, like bringing in Bianca to this. Bianca's got 2 more people she got to face. That's Rhea and Charlotte. When are those gonna happen? Because you know Charlotte want the Mania match. Charlotte want the Mania match. And I'm iffy on if Bianca's gonna go 4-0 in the horsewomen. Well, I count Asuka as kind of like a auxiliary kind of honorary horsewoman. So I'll say 4-0. I'll say that she's gonna beat Asuka and that she'll go 4-0. But I don't know. I don't know.
Asuka was supposed to go 4-0 against the horsewoman, and look at how that ended up. You know what I'm saying? Got a big leg.
You have never gotten over this. You have never gotten over this.
They don't change everything. I was like, what the fuck? It's what she did. You know what? Let me not.
We got Bianca that did it at consecutive manias, brother. We got Bianca. We got
Bianca. At the end of the day, we got Bianca. I can be fine with that. You know,
we good. But yeah, we all saying, all 3 of us saying Rhea. I'll say Rhea. And pray. I'm gonna be in SoFi praying
on my knees. You'll see me in the aisle like this. For the love of God.
Please. Come on, man. Rhea's got a look, man. It's a look. And I feel like again with Charlotte, yeah, she gets the title all the time. Yes, I feel like the Rhea Charlotte or no, the Ronda Charlotte thing was kind of weird. We still don't really know the story behind that and how that went down. Not complaining at all, but we don't know how that went down. But it's like, do you think she wants to beat her dad's record?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's fucked up. Because ain't no woman gonna be able to beat that. That's fucked up. No woman is gonna be able to beat that
ever,
like at all. Like, because I don't want Bianca losing 16 times. I don't want her losing the title 16 times.
Bianca might win it 16 times. I'm gonna be whole with you.
What is she at right
now?
If
she stays
three,
yeah.
Yeah, this is her 3rd Mania in a row in a title match.
Yeah. SmackDown, nuts. Raw, lost Raw, won Raw back 3 times.
Never lost it. Nah, it was SmackDown.
Lost to SmackDown.
Lost to Becky.
And then she just won the Raw one.
Oh, it's twice then. Huh.
So I think it's just 2. Right.
Dang, it felt like years.
If she wants to, you know what I'm saying? If she wants to, I'm gonna trust if she don't get the 16, she ain't even really want to be honest.
She's been having long ass reigns. That's what's fucking us up. Is that she's been having long reigns, longer than most women have. Like Charlotte be having 30-day reigns. Like Charlotte be having them bullshit reigns.
2 days.
2-day reigns. Like the Sasha Banks 30-day, like the good 30-day reign, and then you take a break, leave TV, then come back, then you good, and you win the title. But every time Sasha Banks, I know I'm not allowed to talk about Sasha anymore, but I know when she loses a fucking title, she be off TV, nigga. She's like, I'm going on vacation. You ain't gonna see me for 30 days.
And Charlotte the type of come back off vacation and win the damn title first night.
And take it with her right back on the yacht.
Exactly.
Fly out same day.
Andrade looking kind of gordito lately. I need him to
eating good. The queen eating good, so he
happy.
Yeah, I'm happy.
No creative plans. That's no creative plans and happiness.
No creative plans. I'm whooping niggas' asses backstage. Tony Khan's scared of me. He won't fire me. I want to leave. I'm gonna just be injured and just be chilling. But yo, this has been a fucking blast, Cam. We have to have you back on the show. Like we went almost an hour on 3 fucking matches.
God, I've had so much fun. This has been great.
Thank you so much for doing this. Follow her on Twitter at Karen. Probably make sure that you got your sensitive warnings because she be doing all types of wild tweets. That's your kid's not supposed to see that. Ricochet
don't advertise me like that.
Listen, Ricochet probably hates you for life for what
I'm not blocked though. I'm not blocked, so I'm still in good graces.
Hey man, stop bookmarking her selfies on Twitter. Ever since they put that function, I'll be like, come on now, we got to do better as a people. You know what I'm saying?
But we will be back with the next segment in our WrestleMania Prediction Party on the A Show. Be right back.